Okay, I'd like to call the regular meeting of September 18th to order. You ready? Okay. Ready? I'd like to call the regular meeting of September 18th to order. Call the roll, please.
Penny Gutierrez.
Here.
Trustee Gordon.
Here.
Trustee Hickey.
Here.
Trustee McClendon.
Here.
Trustee Polito.
Here.
Trustee Scott.
Here.
Trustee Salee.
Here.
All stand for the pledge, please. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have approval of the agenda. We need to add under petitions and communications, add C, recognition of Joe Moravec. And move real estate discussion from 12A to 9C. Which would then make 12B become 12A. Are there any other changes to the agenda? I'm sorry? To add C under petitions and communications, the recognition of Joe Moravec. And then to move the real estate discussion, take it out of 12A and move it to 9C. Take it out of closed session and into the open session. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 21st, 2018. Are there any corrections? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of August 21st, 2018.
I support.
Moved and supported to accept the regular meeting minutes of August 21st, 2018. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have petitions and communications, and the first thing is the fire department presentation, and I believe you want to.
Yes, we're going to step outside, and we have two members of the fire department here. It's going to show us their newest and greatest piece of equipment. You all set, John? Yep. Okay.
Show and tell.
Show and tell.
Andrew, did you want to make an amendment to the?
Yeah, after the amendment, I realized that we forgot to pull the program advertisement for the Hall of Fame off the consent agenda and move it to new business. So I'd like to make a motion to further amend the agenda to move the program advertisement to new business, please.
Under D, under new business?
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Moved and supported to move the program advertisement for the Dundee Hall of Fame from 7A under consent agenda to 9A
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much to all of our departments.
I think,
Okay.
and I'll send them a thank you card.
Okay, next we have citizens' comments on non-agenda items. Are there any citizens who would like to speak this evening? Please identify yourself.
My name is Frida Orison. I've been a part of this community since 1969. I am a registered voter, and I just want to bring to your attention that there has been some really bad slander going on about Penny from her opponent. I've heard it from several people. It's been filthy and ugly, and I don't appreciate it as a member of this community. When you walk up to somebody on the street that you don't even know and you talk dirty about your opponent, that is evil. My parents moved us here because it was a good community to live in. And when you have to listen to stuff like that, it's ridiculous. And if you can't win by what you can do for the community, you don't need to run. You don't need to slander somebody to get ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? Yes.
I'm Catherine Matthias. I live on Brooks Helen Court here in Dundee. Been in the community for over 40 years. In town since December. And I have a concern about the closing of the parking lot behind the municipal parking lot across the street. I understand that maintenance needed to be done on the parking lot. But I don't believe it had to be done on a weekend. And I don't believe it had to be done all at one time. I think it could have been cut in half on one night or 2 nights, half on another time. I'm a business owner at Swamp Creek Candle Antique Mall. It took away 25% of my weekend business by that being closed all weekend. I also am concerned about all of the programs that are going on in the parking lot. We have a wonderful park, Wolverine Park. I don't understand why we're having to use the municipal parking lot that is the main entrance to 11 vendors' businesses and close that when we have a park that actually would be a better setup, in my opinion. I'm very concerned about it. And we weren't even notified that it was happening this last weekend. That was probably the most alarming part. So I think that more consideration needs to be taken for the business people of that building when it's decided that the parking lot is going to be closed.
And I will take full responsibility for that. I completely bailed and I apologize. That was my fault.
Well, I still don't feel that a full weekend was necessary. I just don't believe it. And I mean, 2 weeknights would have been better than a full weekend.
There's over 20-some parking spots, right? That I counted.
Citizens' comments, we can only receive comments, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, are there any other citizens that have comments tonight? Okay, next we have consent agenda. We've moved that item, so there's nothing. Old business, the final Ypsilanti Street beautification improvements approval. Nick, would you like to come up and...
If you refer to your packet, as Nick's coming up this way, there's a conceptual drawing.
Good evening. This is the drawing that Spicer prepared for your recommendations and feedback of the previous design. So its features are, it allows access to business, body shop business. It creates a walkway on both sides toward Main Street. It creates a walkway
going east-west along Main Street. It gives 2 parking spaces, parallel parking spaces along the street. It has various trees, and it did meet your request of having a few large flower pots out along the parallel parking spaces. And also, additionally, at the end, north end of Ypsilanti Street at the Van Ness intersection, there's a small island there that would replace that parking block. Is that a stop sign or not?
So now, Nick, just for clarification, this is kind of a stripped-down model while we are doing a traffic study so that we don't expend too much money and then have to redo things. And
You budgeted for this project in March of 2018. You already budgeted for this to be
so
done.
this will be covered with what we have
Yes.
budgeted
Yes.
already.
Yeah, Robin has it budgeted for what you see in front of you, what you did in the last year's budget.
Okay, is there any way we could get this done this fall if we're to approve this?
Start Monday, I believe,
Okay.
if you approve it.
And I know that there was.
Next week sometime, I'm sorry.
I know that there was a lot of differences in the prices that Spicer gave us versus the village. So like that's what we're paying would be bare bones, we're not missing anything. Like,
We're covering what we can
we're covering
cover.
what we should cover.
My off the cuff estimate for the budget is the same thing that Spicer ended up submitting to us,
Okay,
independently, without me even talking to them
okay.
about the line items in particular.
So
Nick, is this the one that we talked about that includes the chargers and stations for
That's-
PCs and things like that?
That's a phase 2, which I didn't include at this time.
This is without that?
This is without that,
Do
right?
they
So-
have the picnic benches included? I can't
No.
tell.
No, this is just walkways, and it leaves that green space, and that kept it within the budget by only having
Okay, so that's
the
phase
basic.
2 also?
That's phase 2. The extras are at phase 2.
This, Mike, I think is just to get those uglier barriers
Yeah,
out of there,
to get
get some
it
grass
moving.
planted,
Yeah.
put some parking there, and you can at least get it
Yeah, I understand.
So,
established.
right.
Yes.
so since that business, the body shop, does horse trailers, motor homes, and campers, how, there's not enough room for them to stay in business, why are we targeting a corner business that's been in here for 38 years in Dundee and a taxpayer, when the next thing the council may do is start going on, instead of corner businesses, they may start to close down basement businesses.
Okay, I think
There's
we
no
already
stop.
took that into consideration when we voted to close this, and also it was looked at in the design of this. So I think right now we're being presented with a design to either accept it as it is or to move forward.
I don't think it's fair to the business owners.
So I would entertain a motion to,
Yeah, I make a motion that we accept the design as presented.
is there support? Did you say? Okay. Moved and supported, any other discussion?
Yeah, I don't think that you're forcing this guy to get a lawyer and sue. And then then the village is paying even more money.
Okay, call the roll, please.
It was moved by trustee Saliv and supported by trustee McClendon to approve the Ypsilanti Street beautification improvements. Trustee Bordine,
No?
trustee Hickey,
Yes.
trustee McClendon,
Yes.
trustee Polito,
Yes.
trustee Scott,
Yes.
trustee Saliv,
Yes.
president Gutierrez.
Yes,
Motion carried.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thanks.
Oh. Okay, I apologize. Back up under the petitions and communications, the recognition of Joan Ravick. I apologize. I went out and saw that big fire truck and lost track of it.
Just wasn't feeling the love for a minute.
That's why you were giving me the eye.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. What I want to present today is another certificate of commendations to an officer that we've had for a short period of time with us, actually from April 19th to September 15th. Officer Moravec served the village of Dundee basically for 5 months. And I know a lot of times I get comments from citizens, from you guys as trustees, board members about, what we do. I always explain what we do, but when I was going through his stats today, I was very impressed. I think I was more impressed with his accomplishments here in such a short period of time. I've been in law enforcement over 28 years now, and I gotta tell you, even when I was a young guy, I know I didn't pull these kind of numbers down. So not only are we gonna lose a great officer for his service, but the Michigan State Police are about to gain one of their best troopers I think they're gonna have in many years to come. So we talk about traffic stops. Why do we make them? What happens? Why are we making so many stops in the village of Dundee? Well, this is a prime example of why you make traffic stops, and that's what Officer Joe Moravec has brought to us. Joe Moravec, in a short period of time of 5 months, has made 39 drug arrests or requests for warrants for arrest. In a short period of time, he's arrested 15 drunk drivers. He's arrested 3 for operating under the influence of drugs. He's arrested 1 for child endangerment. That is simply having a child in the back seat when you are operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol or under the influence of drugs. So, traffic enforcement, this was incredible because this is outside of the realm of what I just explained to you. I'm talking from driving on a suspended license to driving in violations where other things might take place, or misdemeanor arrest, 41. He's also arrested 19 on warrants, whether they're from our department or other agencies. He arrested 1 for receiving and concealing stolen property. And other misdemeanor arrests he's had is 8 outside of that, and he's had 3 felony arrests. That doesn't include the complaints he's handled while he's been here, nor does it include the traffic stops and other citations he's made. That's just a brief synopsis of what Joe Moravec has brought to the village of Dundee. With that said, I want to recognize him today in front of you and recognize him for an outstanding job and for allowing me to be his boss for 5 months. With that said, Officer Moravec, you just step forward. And I will read to the council and to the members that are here. Appreciate your service, sir. Officer Joseph Moravec IV, in grateful recognition of outstanding service rendered to the police department and the citizens of the village of Dundee on this 18th day of September 2018. We appreciate all your hard work and dedication to the entire community of Dundee during your time spent as a police officer with the Dundee Police Department. Thank you again.
Can I get a little closer? Come on. Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, big guy. Appreciate that.
Got it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Welcome to the state police and stay safe.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you. And yes, Joe is a whopping 4'10".
Okay, let's see. New business. Resolution 2018-06 Fire Insurance Withholding Program. I think we had discussed this previously.
Yes. The last council meeting, if you will remember, I talked about it in the manager's comments, that I'd be bringing it at the next meeting, so here it is. Pretty simple.
Is there a motion to adopt resolution 2018-06?
I'll make the resolution, that we adopt the resolution 2018-06 fire insurance withholding program.
I support.
Moved and supported. Could you call the roll, please?
It was moved by trustee McClendon and supported by trustee Salib to adopt resolution number 2018-06 fire insurance withholding program. Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Salih?
Yes.
Trustee Bordet?
Yes.
President Gutierrez?
Yes. Excuse me, yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next, we have the payment of bills in the amount of $43,352.56. Is there a motion to approve and pay the bills as presented?
I make a motion that we pay the bills of $43,352.56.
Second.
It was moved by Trustee Bordine and supported by Trustee Hickey to approve the payment of the bills in the amount of $43,352.56. Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Salih?
Yes.
Trustee Bordine?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
President Gutierrez?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next, we have real estate discussion.
Give me just a second. There we go. I'll come around this side because I have handouts. It's like in school. Michael, can you help me pass this out? Holly, could I get you to come on over? This is Ali, the owner, as you're passing those out to the BP gas station at Ann Arbor Road and M50 Tecumseh. And I've known Ali back to my sheriff's department days, so he's been a business owner here for a long time. His first venture into our business summit was in the spring, and he was very impressed with that and decided to do a project. And as you can see, that is in front of you. Basically, here's how it happened. Ali walked into my office unannounced and said, I really enjoyed that business summit. I like what you guys are doing in the village and how business friendly you are. I have about $1.5 million in my pocket and I want to spend it. I said, okay, sit down, Ali. There is, and you can see on your, and for people in the audience, but Ali owns the gas station right here, the BP gas station. And he owns all the green space except from the pear trees in that corner. That is 0.17 acres of property, and that belongs to the village of Dundee. Nick, help me out. What did Robin say? 2000? 2000. It was part of MDOT, correct? And somehow we got hold of that for $7,400. And we put a sign on there, like the old mill has a sign. I think the chief just put a buckle up or get ticketed, click it or ticket sign. So we've been using that. So Ali needs that 0.17 acres, which I will note that it is not developable. So no one can buy it and put anything there.
Is it the angled piece there?
Yes, with those trees forward. Little triangle.
The triangle there. Okay.
So Ali's proposal is this, is he wants to, and we've had another proposal on this before, but nobody's ever come to the council before, or the village, with a plan. And as you see there, Ali wants to put a freestanding Dairy Queen drive-through restaurant there, which will bring taxes to the village, which we're not getting right now, and it will allow him to do that. There's a couple things. Originally, he thought he could have a curb cut out there on M50, which as you see is a turn lane, so you can't do, MDOT will not allow that. So we want to work with him, if you approve this, we want to work with him on his approach on his driveway right here to get in there, and then we have the ability to grant him in and out on Ann Arbor Road. down towards the end of the property. So he can enter, exit through his gas station and also on the Ann Arbor Road. Back in, you'll see you have a picture of a sign. So this is kind of what I've talked to him about a little bit. Back in 2000,
Also in 2000, the same year, but only a few months later, that plan was drawn.
that plan was drawn up by the village, had it drawn up. If you'll see where there's a sign, a monument sign, that was the plan when the village back then bought that property. They were going to put that, yes, welcome to Historic Dundee with our logo at the top. So I have talked to Ollie along with Nick and Gary, and he's willing, he's willing to negotiate with us, and that's what I'm asking the council, permission for us to continue negotiations. But one of them that Ollie's already agreed upon is that he will construct that sign out front. What I didn't tell Ollie is we found out today through Gary, the sign is going to probably be, Gary, 10 or less, 10,000 or less, the guy told us today. So, and then I still want to go into negotiations with him, maybe recoup our 7,400 or a little bit extra, and that sign there. Ollie also agreed to, if we want to put up a sign for a special event or something at the old mill, that we can put signs up at that corner. And what we'll do is we'll have Fred work on an easement where that sign goes.
Dave, is this the digital sandwich board sign, or is this
No,
just a straight up?
Just a straight up
And
sign.
it would actually look more like this, right?
Yes, and then you have that other, Nick found that where it says Laurinburg, North Carolina, and we kind of fell in love with that stone that's on there. So we're thinking about using the, okay, Penny can pass that around. But we're thinking about maybe making the face of that sign stone. Michael's got one.
Yeah.
We got it.
You must have been not the only one, Michael. So that's where we're kind of at. It's a useless piece of property to us. We can help somebody bring in a business, is my point of view. You cannot build on it, so no one else can benefit from it. Basically, it's just sitting there right now, as well as Ollie's piece of property is just sitting there. So if we can help him bring in another business, so like Robin says, it's another $1.5 million on our tax rolls. So that is what I'd like to propose, is that you think about allowing me to continue negotiations with Ollie.
My two main concerns when we spoke earlier were, A, that we not have another curb cut on 150 just because of the traffic congestion, and you've already addressed that,
Yes.
that will not happen. And B, that we do not just offer a piece of property to someone that someone else could possibly, that would show favoritism that someone else could possibly buy and build on. And you've answered that by the fact that it's not built on.
Not built, yes.
Because the only way someone could build on it is if they had the extra property, which
Yes.
he already owns.
And
Is that
Ollie,
correct, Dave?
yes, and after we talked, I talked to Ollie, and he is not going to sell it to anybody.
I guess my only concern, my only concern would be to ask Chief Garbo, if we do the in and out on Ann Arbor Road, is where we would put the in and out far enough away to not affect that intersection greatly. Like, I wouldn't want to get into an agreement and have this, and then we have another traffic concern because we have enough traffic concerns throughout the village.
No, I totally understand what you're saying, and the good part about this is you actually got a traffic signal that's controlling that intersection. So to answer that quickly, the traffic control signal is in a great spot to allow this to happen. That is all a part of the traffic safety audit coming down into the 23 on both sides of, or actually on the entrance and exit ramps on both sides of 23. So that would not be a part of that congestion. It might be a part of the roundabout if that were to go, if that's what they choose to do. But as far as going on Ann Arbor Road, because you have the traffic control device.
The other thing that I'm wondering is if it might even relieve it somewhat more than what it is now, because people from the gas station may not want to make wait to make that turn on M50, so it may force them to go out on Ann Arbor Road to get around that congestion.
And if I could, if you don't know, that is a 25-mile-an-hour zone on Ann Arbor Road. So it's a slow-moving traffic going through there, which really helps to get in and out of there.
It's supposed to be 25.
It is 25.
Okay, I have a question, Dave. This just might be my stupidity, I wouldn't be surprised. But last time we talked about this monument sign,
Yes.
we left off, I thought, that we were gonna have a digital sandwich board that we could, like, let the school say we're having a wrestling match this weekend, May 5 Music Festival, you know, come down to the farmer's market, whatever.
We did. Yes.
And we left it off there where we were gonna have a red dot digital sign that we could change the messaging and donate to the school and to the businesses downtown. And did that fall by the wayside? Because I thought that's what we were planning on doing with that area.
Well, that was with another person that was requesting.
Yeah, another business,
to-
right.
To buy that, and when
Right.
he found out the price of that, that ended that discussion.
So is that not cost effective, that sign?
It's pretty expensive, but like I said, I mean, it could be negotiations.
I'm not sure that's in keeping with the style and ambiance that we're trying to keep in the village anyway, to start putting up, you know, the LED.
I'd rather see what, that 16-foot sign right there.
I'm afraid the planning commission would not be agreeable to having a reading sign on that particular corner.
Yeah, I just wondered.
But you're right, Mike, you are right, we did discuss that, you're not crazy. We did
You know,
discuss
we've
that.
been complaining about the signs in the windows of the gas station down in that street.
Yeah.
Price prohibitive.
This sign
Can I make a
as
point of order?
presented actually looks very classy for the village. It is in keeping with the village.
Okay, point of order, Paul.
If I'm not mistaken, right now you're requesting that we make a motion to allow the village manager to continue negotiations.
Yes.
And then at which point, before the actual sale takes place, the
Yes.
village council has to approve it, right?
Yes, sir.
So I would like to make a motion that we approve for the village manager and the village management to continue negotiations for the parcel at Tecumseh Street and Ann Arbor Road.
I support that.
Moved and supported, is there any other discussions or questions? Call the roll, please.
It was moved by trustee Scott and supported by trustee Sweet for the village manager to negotiate a real estate proposal on Tecumseh Street and Ann Arbor Road. Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Guido?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
Trustee Boydell?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
President Gutierrez?
Yes.